Well, what's happening, and welcome back to another episode of Talking Tactics. This week we're going to be putting out 3 videos for the massive UFC 280 card. To be honest, nearly every fight on this card is main event worthy, and this week we're going to be starting with the Sean O'Malley versus Petr Yan fight. I'm really excited for this fight, and a lot of people think that Yan's just going to run through O'Malley, and that it's a bit of a surprise as well that number 12's taking on number 1. But to be honest, I think there's a few factors, mostly that it's 3 rounds, is that it's going to be a lot closer than most people think. So we're going to get into it, break down the stats, break down the tactics, and see who we think's going to win at the end. So we'll start by pulling up the tail of the tape here and having a quick look. So we've got a record of 16-3 versus a 15-1 and 1 no contest for O'Malley. In their last 4, Petr Yan's 2-2 versus 3-0 and 1 again in that last fight was a no contest. The 2-2 for Yan, the 2 losses are coming off the DQ loss and then the split decision loss to Aljo, both in title fights, and then the 2 wins are the stoppage win over Aldo and the decision win over Corey Sandhagen. So like, he's fighting top level guys. In O'Malley's last 4, he has fought mostly unranked guys, except for whenever he fought Pedro in a fight that we're going to have a little look at as well. The biggest thing here that a lot of people are talking about is the height and the reach. So we've got the height of 5'11 and 72-inch reach for O'Malley, and Yan has a 67-inch reach and is 5'7", although we have seen him fight tall people before, and we're going to get into that too, like we've seen against Sandhagen. 29 and 27, not much of an age difference, and they're both switchers as well. You're going to see these guys constantly switch stances, and we're going to look at that too, which I'm excited to get into. Right, let's get in and have a look at the technical side of things and how I think each fighter is going to win, have a look at some techniques that they use, and we'll even have a look at a couple of clips as well. So realistically, we think this fight is going to be pretty much a striking fight, although I think if there is any grappling mixed in, it's probably going to come from Yan. We haven't seen any grappling, well, really any grappling from O'Malley, so I do think that Yan might think he has an advantage here. To be honest, yes, we did see Yan exposed a little bit in his own takedowns, but that's against the top level guys like Aljo. Aljo's probably the best grappler in the division, and he's been in there for a long time against Yan and had him in some bad spots and was still unable to finish him. So I know that Yan can grapple, and he's very scrambly. You've seen him, he's very hard to hold down as well. So I do think that Yan has the advantage in the grappling. In the Aljo 1 fight, Yan actually had a lot of success in taking Sterling down, using trips and things like that, and caught kicks as well. So we'll have a look at a couple of clips here so we can see this. So in this clip here, you're going to see a nice hand fight. He catches the kick off the block, scoops the leg up nice and high, runs him off balance, and just trips the leg out. So lovely. Here he actually has the back, and from here he's just going to pick Sterling up and dump him down with a nice takedown. Just have a look at this. Here, hips in, scoops him down, dumps him down right in his head as well, actually. Here, a lovely wee trip too, and takes him down. Sterling scrambly straight away though. And again here, and that sort of has the back position and scoops him out with the outside leg, which was lovely. So really nice trips. And he's very good at catching kicks and blocking kicks as well. So I think that O'Malley would need to be careful with that, or he could end up finding himself in bad positions. Right, so let's talk about Yan's striking. I have done so much studying on Yan. He would be one of my favourite fighters, so I've watched his fights a ton. He is a lethal striker. He has super tidy boxing, really good hand position, great boxing defence, and he's always looking to get to you with his hands. Has a lethal left hook, and his straight shots down the middle are really good as well. Even though he is known for his boxing, he'll use his hands to set up his kicks, and he kicks a lot. He'll then also use his kicks to set up his hands and to cut you off as well, so that then you can't escape, and then he can get to you with his hands too. He has great kick defense, always using checks and blocks, and he can attack and is equally dangerous from both stances. I would say, I know we've talked about them both being switchers, but I would say that he is more versed in both stances. I would say that he has better attacks, and he is a lot more skilled, especially in southpaw too, and we're going to get into looking at a bit of that as well. One attack that he does a lot, and that I really like that he does, and we're going to have a look at a couple of clips, is that he throws this lovely little hook, and then he'll come behind it with the same side kick, or he'll feint that hook and then come in with the kick too. And because he has that threat of the hands, and people are so afraid of his hands, they have to react and lift the hands up, which then exposes the body. Like I said, he does this shot a lot, and he does it in nearly every one of his fights. So we'll have a look here against Sterling. He kind of just shows the hook and then comes in with the shot on that same side. Does the same again here, only this time with a feint. Sterling reacts and gives him the body. Because he has this threat of the hands, and because people are so afraid of his hands, they have to react to it by lifting their hands up, which just exposes the body for him. Same again here. He just kind of shifts forward with it though, carries his momentum forward with the kick. Here against Rivera, he uses it on his lead side, which I really like. He likes to use it on the lead side because he knows then that the body's going to be exposed on that open side, and he'll do that again in both stances, which we'll see. Against Rivera here, he's southpaw, and he's going to use it to come forward and change his stance. Again, nice hand fight here too. Whips forward, and then actually stays southpaw. Here, he does it a nice fake, and then comes to the head. Like, that is lovely. So we'll just actually take another look at that here. Let's put this back. So if you look here, he actually feints his knee and just feints the teep first. He just has a quick wee teep feint, and that's going to again just bring those elbows in that little bit closer, and then shows the hook and comes in perfect, and it lands just perfect to the head. So let's have a wee look. Feint, show, bang. He tries to slip the shot this time instead of blocking, and slips right into the kick. Absolutely lovely. We'll just let it play on. Even though he did catch it, was nice. Here against Sandhagen, like I said, he does it in both stances, and he just done it there against Sandhagen, and we'll have a look back. And this is something that I actually want to talk about. He does very good in southpaw versus southpaw, and as Sandhagen has switched here, he does a lovely read, and he knows then I'll just put this back, that the open side again shows the hook, and there it was, open side, lovely, and just fades out again after. Same again, and then he goes to the head. Perfect. Sandhagen just thinks he's out of range, and that's what I like about him, is that he has such a good understanding of range control, is that if you think you're getting away, he can use those kicks then to keep you in, or he'll change to the kick if he needs to go to that longer range weapon. What I also like is that he'll also use spinning attacks to try and close the distance, that if he feels like he's out of range, he'll spin, which sometimes do land, and he'll then follow that up once he knows that he's fell into range from the spin. So we'll just have a look here again like he done on Sandhagen. He spins and then comes in with the left hand, which just catches him lovely and ends up dropping him as well. The thing about Yan is that he hurts just about everyone that he fights. He's joined first for knockdowns at bantamweight, and he has that style that just chips away at you, and he really looks like he damages everyone whenever he's in there. Even the way that he checks kicks with his constant pressure, he's always looking to make you uncomfortable and always looking to hurt you. I do think his style is better suited over 5 rounds, where he can really break you down, and he does have a tendency to start slow and take the first round off. So I think in this fight he's going to have to pick it up, and I think that might mean making mistakes and taking risks, and that's why I think it's going to be more even, because it's a 3-round fight. Now let's talk about O'Malley. The obvious advantages are going to his height and his reach. He is super tall and long for the weight class, and he uses it really well. He has a great understanding of range, and he knows how to keep you at the end of that range and hit you clean like a sniper. He is so fast and so accurate, and is the #1 bantamweight for significant strike accuracy with 62.4%, which is so high. He controls the distance really well and keeps you at length using lovely jabs and front kicks, and always pumping at you and always faking teeps and faking jabs. He's constantly twitching, constantly faking, constantly changing stance. It's so hard to get a read on him, and it's so hard to know when he's going to go and when he's not, and what's a real attack and what's not, because he's always faking. He's always popping those straight shots at you, so it's very hard to get in, as well as it's very hard to get a read. We'll have a quick look at a couple of clips here. So you see him here against Moutinho. He's using a lovely front kick, and he'll whip up high with a nice head kick here as well, which I really like, because he's faking that low kick or faking that teep, which is going to bring the arms down, and then he whips up high with a kick, which is really nice. And then again popping out there with the jab. Here against Paiva, he's popping that jab, feinting the jab, moving, staying light on the toes. Always never a stationary target. Lovely jab again. Feinting, moving. He's so good again, feinting and then just gliding out of range. He has such a good understanding of range. And then here against Moutinho, someone who's just wading in, hands up high. A little bit similar, but obviously nowhere near the level of Yan. You know, those jabs and just popping at him and keeping his hands up high and keeping his hands busy, I think is going to be something that O'Malley's going to need to do. Again, like you always see him, he's always pumping the jab, feinting again, and then shooting those straight shots down the middle. And then here against Munoz, he's always pumping that shoulder, doing wee false start, so it's hard to know, is he going to come, is he going to go? So you're always loading up, getting ready to see him come in, and then he doesn't, and then he'll attack them when he sees you relax. So you see here against Munoz, like it's all these wee twitches, false starts. Am I coming in? Am I not? O'Malley will constantly change stance, like I've said. Although, defensively at least, I don't think he is as good as Petr Yan. And in any position that we see O'Malley getting hit, it's in the southpaw stance, especially with leg kicks. Pedro landed 26 leg kicks in the fight, and a lot of those were to the right leg. He is showing improvement in checking with the left leg, but on that right leg we have seen him vulnerable. Even in the Cheeto fight, it was his right leg that got injured. And if he's going to be changing southpaw against Yan, who's very, very good at reading stance changes and is very good in the southpaw stance himself with great leg kicks in that stance, it's something that I think O'Malley's going to have to look out for. So we'll have a look at a couple of clips here, and so I can show you what I mean. So he kind of switches off here in the southpaw stance, and as Moutinho just blitzes in and kind of shifts forward, and these are shots that Yan will use a lot too. You see O'Malley with the hands low, chin up in the air, and that could be very, very dangerous. And I'll show you here what I mean. I've got a wee clip of Yan as he goes against Rivera. If he misses the first shot, he doesn't mind just carrying that momentum through, shifting his stance, and then coming over with the opposite side. And if you're going back with your head up and your hands out in front of you or your hands down, these are the kind of shots that you have to look out for. So we'll just have a look. He misses, shifts forward, and lovely catches him with the left hook and drops him as well. Here you see some of the leg kicks that Munoz used against him. You see he's trying to get ready to check there, but he's very heavy on that lead leg whenever he steps in the attack, and look, that gives him, it looks like he checked it, but he doesn't. He catches a little bit of the calf there, and then you'll see again it's the same thing, he catches that calf. Here again, Munoz will attack the leg. I'm just keeping these down nice and slow for you so you are able to see them. Catches that leg again. So they're just some examples, but there is a few more of him being caught on that right side, and the most famous one really is going to be the one against Cheeto Vera. I do think that the fight against Munoz, he's probably going to have learned that after being caught so many of them. He'll probably start, drilling the checks on the right hand side a little bit more, but against Yan, who's a very skilled southpaw, when he's in that position, he is going to have to be careful. That being said, O'Malley has lethal kicks himself. He'll spin, he'll throw them up the middle, he'll throw them to the head, he'll throw them to the leg, and he'll also feint them all the time as well. He has nice stomps to the knee, and he'll throw like those side kicks and oblique kicks to the leg, which will work really well for Yan, who's trying to push forward in, and he'll also throw his knees in the middle of combinations, which is something that we have seen Yan vulnerable to against Sandhagen and against Sterling as well. No doubt about it, Sean is a lethal striker, and I think he can hang with anyone in the bantamweight division, but he is having a massive step up here. Yan is at the pinnacle of the sport. He is a dangerous, dangerous striker, and he's shown that he can strike and handle people who are taller, rangier, in Sterling and in Sandhagen as well. I do think that the 3 rounds plays a massive factor here, and that Sean might have a style that's might take a bit of time to figure out, and if Yan starts slow, I think Sean could snipe a decision. We'll have a very quick look here at the style stats. So we've got Petr Yan with an average fight time of 16 minutes and 12 seconds against 8 minutes 25 for O'Malley. We have seen Yan in a few more 5-round fights, so that makes sense, and O'Malley is a finisher, but like we've said, it hasn't been against high level competition. Wins by sub is 1 and 2 for O'Malley, 7 wins by TKO KO for Yan, and 10 for O'Malley. He has a lot of finishes. He is an absolute sniper and very, very dangerous on the feet. Wins by decision, 8 for Yan and 3 for O'Malley. Losses by sub, 0 for each. Losses by KO, 0 for Yan, and only 1, which is the one against Cheeto Vera, for O'Malley. Significant strikes per minute. Both guys have a high output, but a very high output for Sean O'Malley at 775, which I think is actually number 1 at bantamweight as well. Takedown average 0.54, so we know O'Malley isn't looking for any takedowns, and the sweeps is probably where most of the takedowns are coming, in that 1.48 for Petr Yan. So for my prediction, how do I see the fight going? I think Yan is going to win a decision. I think that his pressure and his style and just his overall skill level is going to be a little bit too much for O'Malley, although I do think that the fight's going to be very exciting and it's not going to be completely one-sided. Although, that being said, if you were into betting, it would be worth putting a bet on O'Malley to sneak this decision at 4-1. It might be worth doing because of Yan's kind of starting slow and taking the first round off, and O'Malley does have a tricky style, so it may take Yan a bit of time to figure it out. I do think he's going to get the win, but it would be worth putting a bet on O'Malley as well. That's it for today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know who you think's going to win in the comments, or if you think that my prediction's way off. Remember, this is only video 1 of 3 this week. Because this card is massive and the fights are so exciting, I had to do more than one video. So I'm going to cover the O'Malley and Yan fight like we've done today. The next video that we're going to have coming out is the Sterling and TJ fight, and then obviously the main event's going to be coming out later in the week. So if you've liked today's episode and you want to see more, remember to hit that subscribe button, and if you like today's episode, hit that like button as well, because it really helps me out, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.